Hey everybody, Walter TGB here, back with another travel guide, and today we're going to be talking about the beautiful capital city of Denmark, Copenhagen. I just went there for the second time, and I even speak their weird language, so I've dedicated quite a bit of effort to understanding this country and this city specifically. And I gotta say, overall, I think it's one of the best cities in Europe, at least that I've been to, or at least one of the highlights of Scandinavia for sure, with a lot to see and do that we're going to get into in this video in due time, but it also just has a general beauty to it with an amazing public transport system that's somehow all automated, peaceful parks and nature, and a metropolitan feel that's bustling but not overly crowded or loud or overwhelming, and maintains a balance between a big city and a more relaxed town. All the major attractions in Copenhagen pretty much are within two areas. Christiania, which is kind of its own thing, and Indre By, which is the essentially downtown area. In this video, I'm going to guide you through the different parts of Copenhagen, and we're going to start with the northernmost area of Indre By, which is Østerport. My trip to Denmark was pretty chaotic. I tried going with the train, which meant I had to go through Germany, and if you know anything about the Deutsche Bahn, you'd know it is an absolutely dysfunctional piece of garbage, and my last train, the longest one, got canceled, meaning I had to be carted over in a taxi across the Danish border like I was some cartel member, and then take another train. But I finally did make it, and the first attraction I saw when I got back to Copenhagen was none other than the Kastellet. The Kastellet is an absolutely beautiful park made up of a former fortress ground with picturesque buildings, a windmill, some great views, and a small monument and a little museum segment about Denmark's commitment to international peace. It feels a little bit random to have all of these things here, but it creates a cool atmosphere, and you can definitely spend a decent amount of time just walking around here, peacefully checking out the nature and the old buildings, and I think you'll have plenty of fun. Right next to it is possibly the most famous tourist attraction in the city, the Little Mermaid statue, which, if you're going to go to the Kastellet anyway and you think might as well get your picture with it, go ahead, because that's what I did. But if you're not going to be in Østerport anyway, then please do yourself a favor. And unless you love statues so much, or you're an Instagrammer who doesn't actually care about experiencing the culture of this city and just wants to get the typical pictures, avoid this. It's really not that great. It's just a little statue, very touristy. There's nothing else to it. I wouldn't make it a priority. Another cool thing to see if you're in the area, but that you don't really need to go out of your way for, is the St. Albans Church, which is a beautiful little church, a lot of stone used in the interior and exterior of this one, which almost makes it feel like it's in some small rural town in England. And I'd say it's a pretty nice church. I'm sure it has a lot of cool history to it, but I don't know because I didn't get to spend much time here because I came right before it closed. Either way, it's neat, and it's right next to a beautiful statue/fountain that's inspired by Norse mythology. In fact, if you're in this area and you want to see the best statue here, this one is way better than the Little Mermaid. In this area, you'll also find the Frihedsmuseet, which is, or the Resistance Museum. It's dedicated to Danish resistance to the Nazis in World War II. Now, if you're not a big history nerd like I am, you're not going to care about this probably at all. Some parts of it go on for too long, or are boring, or are kind of unnecessary, but it has enough style and enough highlights to make itself worthwhile for people who are interested in this topic. It's not the best history museum in the city, but if you're, like I said with all the other stuff here, if you're going to come to Østerport anyway, if you have a day to visit Østerport, or even just part of a day, then you should definitely throw it in if you're interested in this kind of museum. Østerport is nice, but it doesn't compare to the next two areas we'll be talking about, starting with Frederiksstaden. Now, Frederiksstaden is actually pretty cool, mainly because it houses a lot of museums and two of Copenhagen's 3 royal palaces. The first of these is Amalienborg, which is pretty iconic due to the square that surrounds it, and it feels kind of like the heart of the city. But if you pay to go inside, you'll see that while it does have some standout and ornate rooms, it's not that special of a royal palace. You can see better ones in Denmark and definitely in other countries. If you're here and you don't mind paying the price to go in, then go ahead. But there are, or well, I guess there is a better palace in this city. One big positive of Amalienborg is that it's close to the Frederikskirke, which is probably one of the best churches in all of Denmark, maybe in all of Scandinavia. It's absolutely beautiful with a truly unique design that you don't see much in Western Europe. It has this massive dome that just creates kind of an unforgettable and intimidating interior. I revisited this when I came for the second time, and it was worth going twice, so coming here once is an absolute must. Now, not too far from here is the other palace that's in Frederiksstaden, which is Rosenborg. Now, this one is probably going to catch me some heat, but while most people would say this is an absolute must-see, one of the best palaces in Scandinavia, people might even say it's the best palace in Denmark, I think it's the worst. I think it's at least in Copenhagen. This is the worst of the three palaces in Copenhagen. It does have the most iconic and beautiful exterior, I'll give you that, but the inside feels cheap and kind of in poor condition, not to mention it is extremely touristy and you have to book a specific time to go in, and it's not cheap either. The other two palaces are a lot more free with how you get in and pay for your tickets. They're cheaper, they're more fair, they're more fun, and it feels more ornate and interesting. So if you really are hell-bent on seeing all three palaces, sure, check it out. It's not the worst thing in the world, but if you only want to do one or two, then this is definitely the one to skip. It is, however, surrounded by the beautiful Kongens, as well as the botanical gardens, which are free, so they're kind of worth a stop if you've got some time. But what you're really going to want to check out here are the various museums in the area, such as the Workers' Museum, which I'd actually only recommend to a very specific interest group. And actually, even then, it's pretty pricey and not that in-depth, so I wasn't left particularly satisfied with it. But a much better use of your time is at the SMK, or the National Gallery, which impressed me even though I'm not a big art fan. The sheer diversity of the art collection here is really impressive, and each little segment offers something totally unique, so you can just get lost in here for hours. And while Østerport is nice and Frederiksstaden is pretty great, Strøget, or however the hell you pronounce it, I actually don't know, is the area you're going to want to be in. Now, Strøget actually refers to the shopping mile that you can go along. That's kind of iconic. Personally, I wouldn't recommend shopping in Copenhagen because it's super duper expensive, but the area surrounding this shopping mile is what you're definitely going to want to see. It'll start out at the minimalist Copenhagen Cathedral, which is definitely a beautiful church, and while it's not as good as the Frederikskirke, it definitely has a totally different vibe to it, so I would totally recommend checking this one out. Right nearby is also the Old University Library, which is a must-see. This is one of the biggest hidden gems in the whole city. It's absolutely beautiful, very cheap to enter, and you can actually go up to the books, open them, look at them. It's a really cool experience. There's also an iconic tourist attraction here, the Round Tower, which offers some pretty nice views, but in my opinion, it's not really anything special and kind of just feels like something that's there to be checked off a list. So if you don't really have a stick up your ass about wanting to get some views of Copenhagen, skip it. The sites surrounding Slotsholm Island are much more worthwhile, including the gargantuan National Museum, which may have some boring stretches, but is kind of too big to fail, because it has some true highlights as well, such as this amazingly immersive exhibit they have about Norse mythology, which is even cooler than it looks. Additionally, the Royal Library and Danish Architecture Centers are here, but I'd highly recommend the War Museum, as it's got a really cool exhibit on Afghanistan, or at least it did when I visited it. It's got some very interesting inclusions, and if you go here, you get a discount for tickets to the Frihedsmuseet. So if you want to go to both, then definitely check out this one first, and then go to the Resistance Museum. Another sort of hidden gem is the Royal Library Garden with its statue of Søren Kierkegaard, so if you're a real philosophy freak, then go right ahead. But what I really want to talk about are 3 attractions near Stockholm, which are possibly the 3 best attractions in this whole city. First place goes to Christiansborg Palace. This is by far better than Rosenborg and Amalienborg. Christiansborg is the best royal palace I have ever visited. Period. I'm not even joking, and I've been in a lot. I've been to Versailles. I've been to Schwetzingen. I've been to Sanssouci. I've been to... You get the point. I've been to a lot of the most famous royal palaces in Europe, and yet I think this one is actually the best. And I'll explain why. So first off, we have the fact that the rooms in here are just gorgeous, with each one basically topping the last. You have amazing highlights like the throne room, the library, and the Great Hall, full of these amazing, stylish tapestries that tell the stories of world and Danish history over each century, which I just found awesome to look at. And it's like a giant Where's Waldo book on the wall, but even cooler. But what I really like and admire about Christiansborg is the length. Going through this tour with your little booties on to make sure that you don't get dirt on the floor is actually so nice because it doesn't take forever. I've gone to other palaces, and after like 20 rooms, you just start to go, okay, I get it. But what Christiansborg and the Royal Palace in Amsterdam have in common is that they are short but sweet. Each room is beautiful and they don't overdo it. And I really like that. So if you want a great Royal Palace experience and you only want to go to one, then definitely make it Christiansborg. If you make it either of the other 2, you have missed out completely. Beyond the royal apartments, you can also check out the underground area, which tells of the 2 previous castles that existed here but burned down. There's also the royal kitchen and stables, and all of these are just kind of fine and boring. The only highlight is that in the royal kitchen, there's this little terrifying doll of a little girl stashed away in a corner. And you better believe me that when I turned around and saw this, it was like a fucking jump scare from a horror movie, but in real life. Another attraction you really can't miss is Tivoli Gardens. This is a great amusement park full of fun rides and character. And even if you don't like these types of places typically, it has a special charm to it that'll win you over. And you don't even have to go on any of the rides to enjoy it. And possibly the 3rd best thing in all of Copenhagen, you have the new Carlsberg Glyptotek, which is another art museum that even I liked, despite, again, not being a big art guy. It has these gorgeous statues. It has this amazing winter garden. It's absolutely worth checking out. Now, I can't necessarily say if it's better than the Statens Museum for Kunst, because that one might actually offer a better collection, a broader collection of art. So if you're a real art lover, then you can go there. But if you want a more cool museum experience, then I think New Carlsberg Glyptotek is the way to go. Finally, in this area, we have the City Hall, which is a gorgeous building with tons of cool details inside, especially these staircase paintings. It's not one of the best things in the whole city necessarily, but if you've got the time and you're in the area, 100% worth a stop. Copenhagen is full of beautiful areas outside the town center, and even though it's a bit sketchy, I would recommend strolling through the Freetown Christiania area, which has now banned its infamous drug sales about a year ago, and is perfectly safe to visit as long as you're careful and smart. It's got some really cool art, quirky buildings, and a foreign yet familiar and liberated vibe. It's also near the Kirke, which looks awesome, but unfortunately was the one thing I wanted to check out that I couldn't. But the final tourist attraction you might want to check out is the Reffen street food market, which really isn't my thing, but the food I had was still pretty damn good, and if you're a hipster or something, I'm sure you'll love it. As for any other information, here are some cool and good restaurants in Copenhagen that I would recommend. And as for transport, you can pretty much walk around depending on where you're staying in the city. That's what I did the first time I visited. I literally just walked the entire time and I was totally fine. It's also got great bike infrastructure if you want to rent a bike, or you can use the metro, which is what I did on my second visit, which allows you access to a lot more stuff. The metro system is super clean, super nice, super easy, and it's not that expensive to just get a 3-day card, similar to if you're using the tunnelbana in Stockholm. So there are a lot of great ways to get around, a lot of great places to eat, and as I've described throughout this video, a lot of great things to see and do in Copenhagen. I love this city. I would actually, even though I've pretty much done everything here, I would still go back again because I enjoy it so much, and I think you should definitely check it out too. No matter your interests, there's probably something here for you. So yeah, I hope this was interesting. I hope you're interested in Copenhagen now, or that this was helpful if you were already looking to going there. I hope you enjoyed the video overall. Thank you for watching. Be safe, goodbye, and I'll see you next time.